Hey everyone, welcome to the Coding Zoo. This is the HTML building blocks series and we're on lesson number 15. In today's lesson, we're going to implement the HTML5 element progress to implement a progress bar. We are also going to touch upon, for the first time, HTML event. We're going to cover adding an onClick event handler. So we're going to combine all these things together to implement a progress bar and show you how it works. I hope that interests you. If so, stick around. We're going to jump right in. All right, hey, so let's go ahead and get started. Just a reminder, our goal at the Coding Zoo is to help others learn how to program. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, hey, leave us a message here, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Leave us a message. Let us know how we can improve to help you learn how to program. And if you'd like to see a certain video on a particular subject, hey, let us know. So let's go ahead and jump into the code. As usual, I have this standard template HTML document here on my screen. This is the template we created in the first lesson of this series. Let's go ahead and add a progress bar. Let's use the HTML5 element progress. So I type in a progress element. I'm going to give it an ID. Okay, I'm going to set an attribute called max. So if you're measuring from like 0 to 50, your max would be 50. I'm going to measure from 0 to 100. So I'm going to do max equals 100. And what's my initial value? I'm going to start out with, well, let's start out with 10 just to show you what the bar looks like. So I'm going to start out with 10. Let's go ahead and make that where it's easier for you to read. Okay, Control S to save, refresh. So there is my progress bar, pretty simple. I've got the zoom set up to 200 so you can see it better. It's normally a lot smaller than this. You can use CSS to make it bigger, smaller, different colors, all that good stuff. So for today, we're just going to use the default. I'm going to go back to my code here. Let's put it down to 0, save it, click refresh. There we go. All right, I want to add a label for it. File upload. You can tell we have a bar here. Every time and the maximum in this bar is 100. Every time you want to show a more status, you have to change the value of this element. So, how would you programmatically change the value of this element? Well, if you're doing something in the background, you're programming in JavaScript. JavaScript is kind of how you have behavior in HTML. CSS is for styling, HTML is for wrapping your data, and JavaScript is for behavior. So how would I change this HTML element to actually show a different progress as something's happening in the background? Well, you'd use JavaScript for that. So we're going to pretend we're downloading a file in the background. What I'm really going to do is we're going to put a button and we're going to put an input box on the screen just for example purposes. And we're going to allow us to click the button and take the value out of the input box and update this progress bar. Now, of course, if you're using the progress bar, you wouldn't use the input box or the button. You would track whatever you're doing behind the scenes in JavaScript. If you're uploading a file, you track its progress. If you're doing some other backend processing, you would update based upon the progress of that process. So we're going to add a blank and a button just so you can play around with it and see how that works. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to add another label. I'm going to add an input element. the type of text. I'm going to call it, as you can tell from my label, I'm going to call it input progress. Can't spell today. All right, so I have a label, I have my input box. So it's all scrunched up on one line. Let's go ahead and add a div to it. Let's make it drop down to its own little section. All right, let's go ahead and let's add a button. Save it, click refresh. All right, so there we go. I have my file upload. I have my progress is. It's a text box, and I have the change progress or emulate upload button. All right, let's fix that real quick. Put a div around it also. Okay, I'm going to add a little CSS in here. I've got this file right here already attached. Drop it down in here. Okay. Let's do an element selector, margin 20 pixels. Save it. Refresh, there we go. All right. Okay, so I have a button. I click it, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change my file upload status. So the purpose of this input box and this button is to emulate, a JavaScript process running in the background that would update this status. So the idea is you can put in like 12, click the button, and it'll update to the status of 12. So that's not working, of course, because we haven't put that behavior in. We need to attach an event handler such as onClick, and we need to tie that to a JavaScript function. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add a script tag, and this will allow me to put JavaScript inline instead of into an include file. This will allow me to put it inline inside this body element. So I'm going to add script. I'm going to create a constant update progress function. Going to use arrow function, doesn't matter what kind of function you use. And I want to read the updated value from the text box when this function is called. So I'm going to do document.get element by ID, and the ID for the text box is what? It is input progress. So type in input progress. And I'm going to do a dot value to actually get the value from that element. So I've created a constant. Next, I want to use that constant to update the progress bar. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a document get element by ID, and I want to find the progress bar. So it's called my progress. So type in my progress. So this should find it, and I'm going to set the value. So I'm going to do value equals and updated value. And let's look it over, see if there's any bugs. So looking at that, there's no bugs. Of course, if I save it and click refresh, I've got a JavaScript function, but it's not, it's not plugged up to anything. So let's go ahead and plug it up. So I've got the button. I'm going to assign a handler to the onClick event. So onClick, so it's uppercase C. There's different types of events like this. We're going to go over that in upcoming lessons. There's tons of different events for different elements in the HTML document model. So onClick, and I want to call a JavaScript function. So I'm going to type in JavaScript, and I'm going to type in the name of the function. The name of the function is update progress. Okay, so my button has an onClick defined, and it points to this function as a handler. I'm going to save it, click refresh. Okay, so click it, nothing happens. Let's add a value. Let's add 5. There we go. So my uploads made it to 5%. So what happens if it gets to 45%? There you go. So again, you wouldn't use this text box and a button. You would have your process in the background, keep track of where it's at, and you would just go and update this value. So pretty simple. Let's get it to 100, see what happens. There you go. We've got a progress bar, HTML5 element, pretty neat, and we're able to update it using JavaScript. So this should give you an idea how to update it as you're doing a backend process in JavaScript. Let's go back to the code. Now we can implement a progress bar on something we don't really know how to measure, but we want to show there's something going on, there's some progress happening. We could update the bar this way. Let's go ahead. I'm going to add a new bar. And I'm just going to put a progress tag. All right, I'm going to save it. So you've seen the little circular spinners when you're doing something. You could do something like this when you're like uploading something or doing something in the background. Kind of back and forth, right? So it doesn't know what the progress is. It's just bouncing back and forth. It's showing the user that something's going on. It kind of reminds me of the Knight Rider car on the TV show Knight Rider. Look at the black car. It's got the lights going in front. That's the computer and stuff. Yeah, I'm old. Most of you probably don't remember that show. But anyway, that's pretty cool. Pretty neat. That's all there is. It's really simple. It's easy to use and pretty cool. I like the HTML5 element progress. Hey, if you have any questions, let me know. That's it for today. We're going to cover the HTML5 element meter probably in our next lesson. So I hope you stick around, check that out. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click subscribe and click the bell icon for alerts, and it'll let you know when that video comes out. If you liked this video, click like. If you didn't like it, go ahead and click dislike and let us know how we can improve. Leave us a message. We appreciate that. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.